welcome to MARIYAM'S Reading Habit. Today, in this episode, I'll be sharing with you The Naughtiest Girl in the School by Enid Blyton. Chapter 9, Rita has a job for Elizabeth. Elizabeth had no time to run away. Rita came out of the shop almost on top of her. She smiled at the little girl and then saw that she was alone. Her smile faded and she looked stern. "Surely somebody is with you." "No," said Elizabeth. "But Elizabeth, you know that by now that no one is to go allowed in the village by herself. You must always come with somebody." "Why didn't you?" "Because nobody will come with me." With me. "Well, you had better come with me now," said Rita. "I am alone, so because the girls in the shop class are allowed to shop by themselves. So walk along with me." So Elizabeth was about to say that she didn't want to when she saw what lovely kind eyes Rita had. Rita was looking at her, and Elizabeth thought she was the kindest looking girl she'd ever seen, even nicer than Eileen. So she went along by Rita in silence. "You know, Elizabeth, it is strange that no one would go with you. Doesn't anybody like you?" "No," said Elizabeth. "Don't you remember, Rita, that I told you I was going to be horrid as that I could go home? Well, everybody thinks I'm very horrid, so nobody wants to talk with me." "And are you really horrid?" said Rita. Elizabeth looked up. She was surprised that Rita should talk to her kindly after having found her out in disobedience. But Rita did not look angry, only very understanding and wise. Elizabeth thought for a moment, was she really horrid? She remembered all the governesses she had had. She knew that Miss Scott wouldn't stay with her. Perhaps she really and truly was a horrid girl. "I don't know," she said at last. "I believe I'm horrid really, Rita. I make myself horrider than I truly am. But all the same, I believe I can't be very nice." "Poor little Elizabeth," said Rita. "I wonder what has made you grow so horrid. You look such a nice little girl, and you smile. You are quite different. I do feel sorry for you." A lump suddenly came into Elizabeth's throat, and tears into her eyes. She blinked the tears away angrily. Now Rita would think she was a baby. "Don't feel sorry for me. I want to be horrid so that I can go home. Could you try to be nice for a change and just give yourself a chance?" "No," said Elizabeth. Shan't be sent home if I am nice. I simply must be bad as I can be." But you will make yourself very unhappy," said Rita, "and you will make other people unhappy too." "Shan't I? Shall I?" said Elizabeth in surprise. "Well, I don't mind in making myself happy if I can get what I want in the end. But I don't want to make other people unhappy. Unhappy. I think I'm a horrid girl, but Rita, I wish you would believe me when I say I really don't mean to make the others happy." "Well, listen, Elizabeth," said Rita, walking all the time towards the school. "There is someone in your room who isn't very happy. Have you noticed it? You might at least want to do what you can to make things nicer for her." "Who is it?" asked Elizabeth in surprise. "It's Joan. She hasn't," said Rita. "She hasn't a happy home, and she comes back to school very miserable each term. She worries about her father and mother all the time because they don't seem to want her or to love her. They never come to see at half term." "Oh," said Elizabeth, remembering that Joan usually did look rather sad. "I didn't know." "Nobody knows except me. I live near Joan at home, so I know. I'm telling you this, Elizabeth, because if you really do mean what you say about not wanting to make other people unhappy, you would try to make things better for Joan. I'm not saying that to fully make her happy, fully cure her from her sadness, but I'm asking you to make things better for her. She hasn't any friends, just like you, and she's afraid of making friends in case anyone asks her to stay with them for the holidays, and she knows her mother wouldn't bother to ask any friend back to stay with John. And John is very proud and can't bear to take kindnesses she can't return. Now there is a job for you to do. Can you do it?" "Oh, yes, Rita," said Elizabeth at once. Although she was spoiled, she had tender heart, and when she saw that someone was in trouble, she would always go to help them. "Thank you for telling me. I won't tell anyone else. I know you won't. It is such a pity you made me bad, Elizabeth, because I could see you would be splendid if you would give yourself the chance," said Rita. As I frowned, it's no good. I'm going to do what I mean to get sent home as soon as I can. And I can't be sent home if I'm good. Well, come and talk to me any time you think you would like to, asked Rita, as they walked in at the school gates. And I say, Elizabeth, don't go alone into the village again, will you? Can you promise that? Elizabeth was going to say no, and she would promise, and then she thought how kind and gentle Rita had been, and she felt she must absolutely promise. I promise, Rita, she said, and thank you for being so nice. You make it rather difficult for me to be as horrid as I want to be. That is a good thing, said Rita, and with a laugh, and the tall head girl walked away to her own room. Nora met Elizabeth as she walked to the playroom. Did you go to the village? She said. Yes, I did, said Elizabeth. Who went with you? Said Nora. No one. I went by myself. Then I shall report you at the next meeting, said Nora angrily. Report you all you like, said Elizabeth in a don't care tone. I shan't mind. You will mind when all right when the time comes, Miss Don't Care. Elizabeth went to the playroom and put a record on the gramophone. She looked through the piles of records to see if the CPs were there that she loved. But it wasn't. She wondered how much it would cost. But what was the use wondering that? She would never have any money now to buy anything. This horrid, horrid school. John Townsend came to the playroom. People all used her quiet names, and nobody took much notice of her. They called her the little mouse and often asked her where she kept her bit of cheese. Elizabeth looked up and thought that John looked rather sad. Has the afternoon post come yet? Asked Nora. Yes, asked Helen. Long ago. Nothing for you, John. Perhaps you hope to hear from her mother or father, thought Elizabeth. I hear from Mummy very often. But I don't remember John getting a single letter. She was just going to say something to John when the supper bell rang. The children all trooped into the hall, and Elizabeth tried to sit next to John, but she couldn't. She noticed that John hardly ate anything. After supper, there was a concert in the music master's room. Elizabeth ran up to John and spoke to him. John, come and hear Mr. Lewis playing tonight. He's going to play a lovely thing to us. My mummy plays it at home, and I know her very well. No thanks, asked John. I've got a letter to write. Elizabeth stared after her as John went to the playroom. John always seemed to be writing letters, but none ever came for her. Elizabeth ran to tell Mr. Lewis she was coming to his little concert, and then she ran and peeped in at the playroom. John was there alone, but she was not writing letters. She sat with her pen in her hand, and two big tears dropped on the writing pad on the desk. She hated to see anyone crying, so she was horrified. She stepped into the room, but John turned and saw her coming. She wiped her tears away and spoke fiercely to Elizabeth. What are you spying on me for, you horrid thing? Can't you leave anybody alone? You're always making a nuisance of yourself. John, I only wanted to. Yes, I know what you wanted, said John, just as fiercely. You wanted to see me crying, and then laugh at me and tell all the others that I am a baby. You say you want to be as horrid as nasty as you can, but just you try telling the others you saw me crying. Oh, please don't, I wouldn't do that, I really wouldn't, said Elizabeth, full of dismay to think that John should think of such a thing. John, please listen, I'm not as horrid as I make myself to be. Oh, do please let me be friends with you. No, said John, who was almost as obstinate as Elizabeth when she was unhappy. Go away. Do you suppose I'd let the naughtiest girl in the school be my friend? I don't want any friend. Go away. Elizabeth went away. She felt dreadful. How could she have John if John wouldn't believe she was not quite as horrid as she pretended to be? She had John's unhappy freckled face, and although the music master played really beautiful that evening, for once Elizabeth did not listen in delight. For once she was thinking of somebody else and not herself. If only John would let me help her, thought Elizabeth. Rita wouldn't have told me if she hadn't thought I could do it. I wish I could have a chance of showing Rita I could really do something for somebody. Elizabeth's chance came that very night, when she and the other 5 girls in her room were in bed and Elizabeth was almost asleep. She heard a sound from the other bed where John slept. John was sobbing quietly under the bedclothes. Elizabeth was out of bed at once, although she knew that the rule was that no one was to leave her own cubicle till morning. But Elizabeth didn't care for rules anyhow, and she meant to go to John even if John pushed her away as fiercely as before. So everyone, that's all of chapter 9. If you like this chapter, please like, share and subscribe and hit the notification button. Bye!